Okay, so now, is Katie here tonight? Everything?
No, she's not.
Sleepy?
Okay, we're all done.
I
They should
lost
be here now.
$40.
They should be here.
That's all I spent. That's all I gambled. How much? $40. No, I lost $40.
Oh, yeah,
Left it in
are
Vegas.
they outside the locked door maybe?
Jason left 100. I don't know, some machine that looked fun. And it took all my money and that was it. I got up $20 less and then I went to another machine in another place and lost another $20.
Great.
How'd you go to casino?
Yeah, we went to Vegas to watch a show with some friends. Never been before.
In a show?
We went and watched, Brian.
Brad?
Yep, that was the.
Hello, how are you? Good, how are you?
I like Brad.
It was good.
Okay. Remember, next up we have the granting of tenure for our literary teacher, Katie Rodriguez. I need a motion for that, please. Margaret and Ron. Any questions? All in favor?
I do have Laura to say some words.
Yep. Sure. And congratulations, Katie. I know you're not here, but congratulations.
I did this for the link for the meeting.
All right, good.
It is with great enthusiasm that I've recommended Katie Rodriguez for tenure. Katie's one of our reading intervention teachers at the elementary school, but she's also a leader among our staff, the first hand that students high five every morning as they enter the building. She has all different types of hands, by the way, too. An advocate for our students and school community. In her time here at Peconic Hills, she's enlightened others by sharing her expansive knowledge of the reading process. She stays up to date on the latest research and best practices in reading instruction. She's completed the SUNY New Paltz Science of Reading micro-credential, been trained in dyslexia assessment and intervention, letters, and Orton Gillingham. At the end of this month, Katie will be leading professional development with another intervention teacher for the entire elementary staff. This training is going to teach our educators how to create and implement structured literacy lessons into their instructional day. Her passion and commitment to our district, student learning and achievement, and literacy and reading make her an invaluable asset and resource for our school district.
Oh, that's so nice, Laura. I'm very excited. Well, again, congratulations, Katie. Okay, we have budget workshop number 2. Now, this is the good stuff.
You say so.
Okay, so we're about halfway through the budget process at this point, and we just wanted to take you through where we are at this point. And just to touch on some of the strategies and around some of our decision making. We have been, behind the scenes, we make decisions based on these core values that we have right here. Maintaining class sizes, academics, all of our extracurriculars, athletics, all of our clubs, minimizing cuts during restrictive budget cycles, and looking at right-sizing our district. We know enrollment has decreased. Our staffing has mostly remained the same. So as we work through the next few years, just looking at the right-sizing, and also aligning our budget with the strategic plan. You've heard a lot about the strategic plan, and you will continue to hear a lot about that. But that's what our strategies when we build the budget. I also wanted to highlight a couple of our new programs. The work-based learning is actually not new, but we've reinstated this coordinator position. So Amy Junito was appointed last meeting, but she will really kick it off in the 25-26 school year. So we wanted to highlight that. And also STEM High School. So that is something that is part of the BOCES budget, which you'll see in the next couple of slides. That is a new offering that we are offering to our students who apply. We did budget for 2 slots. The cost is about $13,000 per student, and it is for incoming 9th graders, and they would take that all the way through their senior year. And you do have a brochure in your packet that explains STEM. Yeah, and they will leave there with pretty much an associate's degree, high school.
Is it an all-day program or is it a half a day?
I think it's all day.
All day.
Yeah. And I'll let Lynette just touch on some of the enrollment projections.
Our enrollment currently hasn't changed since our last meeting. I know that we talked before about that we have a negative under kindergarten, just with the current numbers. If we let go of one teacher at the kindergarten level, if we did not, we would have 11 students in a classroom. However, we did put another push out reminder for people to sign up for pre-K and K. We've had 38 families registered for pre-K and 3 so far for kindergarten. That's a little bit ahead, just by a few, from last year at this time. So we do anticipate those numbers to go up. We really don't want to let go of a teacher when we feel that we're going to need them. Also, Ashley had mentioned about smaller class sizes, and we do know that that does make a difference for our children, and especially at the younger grades, and the support that they need, not only with their academics, but the social, emotional support that they need as well as they get acclimated to elementary school. Are there any questions? I think we do get a monthly report from our district data coordinator on our enrollment, and this month I think it was 8th grade, we just went up by 1 from last month, so it's pretty steady.
How many more students would that be in order for that to change? I mean, are we talking like 5 kids? I mean, is there a number that would change that?
Well, usually, yeah, it's not that much that we would need in order to
go back
move
to,
that from, 11.
okay.
So, yes, most likely we would keep 4 teachers in kindergarten. Last year, we had 58 that were on campus, so the average size was about 14 in a classroom. And since the pre-K numbers have been about the same too, we're estimating that that will be similar for kindergarten as well. That we'll get those students enrolled.
And I just really wanted to talk about some of the cost drivers that are out of our control at this point. I've been kind of beating the health insurance to death over the last couple of months, but I should have on Friday the final enrollment. I did talk to our Benetech rep today. They do not anticipate it going up higher than this. It's looking like it'll be a little bit lower. So that will really impact the budget and overall. Our salaries, we know those are contractual. Our projected changes for retirement, TRS is decreasing, although salaries are increasing. So it's kind of a wash. The ERS retirement system has gone up to 16.5%. And I did get a projected increase from NYSER. So last year we almost had about a 25% increase. We eventually were able to kind of negotiate it down to about 14%. And it's looking to be about a 10% increase for this year. So that is about an additional $20 or $20,000. And just to highlight some the payroll benefits tab, I know you've seen this a bunch of times. I put the arrows where the impact is the greatest. So health insurance, shocker, salaries and stipends. So we negotiated the THFA contract last year, and including the coaching stipends and the extracurricular stipends. So that was a very big lift for the district. So you will see that reflected in the increase for stipends. And our retiree benefits down here under the blue section, you'll see that health insurance there is increased as well. Right now we have 278 retirees and we have 176 employees that take our health insurance. So our retirees are, kind of surpassing our active at this point.
Ashley, I have a question. The
Yeah.
unemployment insurance, why did that go up so much?
So we project typically about $1,000 each year, and we usually don't expense anything, but this year we did have some unemployment expenses, so I am anticipating that that will stay steady for next year as well. We can take out your magnifying glass for this one.
Oh, yeah, well, I can see it.
I did print you
Surprisingly
a
enough.
8.5 by 14 copy you have there. I just quickly want to go through this. We actually have a decrease in BOCES this year, and that it comes from our rent and capital budget. We pay our central administration and rent to schools to BOCES, and that's based on our enrollment. So a function of our enrollment is decreasing, which means that what we owe to BOCES is also decreasing. As far as the programs itself, we do see in the top section, those are our business administration costs, services that we purchase through BOCES, our state aid planning service, our election services. So now we have our machine, we have a cross contract through BOCES to service the machine and to have an election here, a worker here on site for 5 years.
Yes.
We have our NTS election management service. They help us create our ballots, and they send out all of the send us the labels for any disabled voters, so we work closely with them. We have in the blue, these are our CAP region BOCES. This is mostly all the software that we use within the district: school tool, data warehouse, our cafeteria, POS system, Aptitude rooms. So we have a cross contract with CAP region BOCES, so we do lump that into our Questar 3 bill. Down at the bottom, the red, we have BARD, early college and the high school. We are still budgeting for 3 slots. Also in the red, the STEM high school, the task alternative program, so that's the GED program. We have 2 budgeted for that. All in the yellow section here, these are our special education programs. In the white is our CTE, New Visions, and Tech Valley High School program. That amount is based on a 5-year average of enrollment in the CTE program. So we have about 45.6 kids in the last 5 years. So we are built based on that. We can send as many kids as we want to those programs, and the price will not change. This section here in the orange is our library software system. Anything that goes through the library is built through BOCES. And then in the blue, our computer software and equipment. And that last line is just a very small cross contract that we do for our alcohol and drug testing for our transportation department. Overall, we are seeing a small decrease of $26,000. I touched on some high school already. That is new. BARD remains at 3 slots. All of our technology purchases, probably 98.9%, all go through BOCES. We do receive 8 on those. So that's why we try to do all of our purchases, as many as we can through BOCES. And just to come back to this, the proposal for tax levy options. On April 9th, we will really unpack this. Tonight, I do have a tax impact report that I will leave with you all, and we will dissect that on April 9th. But I do want to show you a 0, a 2.5, a 2.99, which is what we levied last year, a 3.5, and then the cap. So this would be the tax levy at the top, and then this would be what the fund balance that we would need to balance the budget. So this is what the deficit would be. This is assuming the budget number that I am at this point in time. So it includes the high increase of health insurance, no staffing changes yet, and no special ed budget yet. So we have not finalized a special education budget, which could go either way at this point. And then it assumes the 13.6 billion in other revenues. So that's our state aid, and then the 750,000 in other revenues. And these are the areas that I have to finish at this point, the health insurance, state aid, that hopefully we'll have the final state aid budget on April 1st. And then special education placement and needs. So we know we have a new PPS director starting on March 31st. I do want to give her an opportunity to see the draft budget that we have right now for special ed and just, have her eyes on it for a day or two before we roll anything into the final budget. And we discussed the propositions during our last workshop. I do want to show you an additional proposition, which is number 3, funding of the repair reserve. So we discussed in December moving the $1.2 million into the property loss reserve to repair the terrazzo floor. Now, in order to make that all happen, we need to move that into our repair reserve, which requires a proposition. So this proposition is just authorizing the transfer from the property loss reserve into the repair reserve. Hopefully we'll have a successful vote, and then we'll do the public hearing and the board authorization to expense from that reserve so we can get the flooring situation taken care of as soon as possible. All the other propositions remain the same. Funding the capital reserve, repair reserve, the capital improvement building project. We will have information night on April 2nd. We will have Matt Schools here during that time. He'll prepare some materials for that. And then no changes to the purchase of the school vehicles and buses.
Do you want to do questions on this now or when we get to vote on it later?
You can do it now.
So I know we've talked about this a couple of times and I forgot. How much do we actually have in the capital reserve right now?
The capital reserve?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, probably about 30 million, 3.5. And we have a cap of 10.
Okay, so to add anything in there, we need to have a proposition? But I thought we did that in 2023. We upped it to 10 in
We upped it to
2003.
10 in 2023.
Right, so to add anything in there, we need a proposition. Okay,
Is there a reason we're only hitting 4, not topping it off?
Or will get us to pretty much just about the top. And then
Oh, I thought you said it was 3.5 million. If we had 4, that's only,
I want to say that there's I think you're right about 5, because once we add the 4, we're going to be very close to that 10.
okay, all right.
With the interest that's building on it, I don't want to go over the 10, obviously, and
Right.
leave a little room for the interest.
We could raise it too, right? There's no
We
cap. We
can.
can change the capital reserve
We
fund to
can.
15 million if we wanted, right?
Yes. If we want to do that, we can. We have time between, now and the 9th if we needed to add that.
Well, it's my understanding that down the road, the State Department might decide to use what we have as not encumbered funds on how less state aid we get. But if it's in a capital reserve, it's okay.
Mhm.
So we have to let the taxpayers know that if we want to raise the capital improvement, the capital reserves, it's going to save them taxes, because if we leave it in unencumbered, then they're going to take away state aid, which will make our budget go up on the other side, and then they'll pay more taxes because we don't have the money in the right spot. So we should, I think, start thinking about raising the capital reserve this year to 15.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we didn't do it at this point in time is because once we start this project, we're gonna start moving the money right out of the capital reserve. So we're looking about 6.25 out of the capital reserve, but we can absolutely have a proposition
Because
to
the state is,
increase it.
because what's gonna happen is when they make their move, we're not gonna have time to raise capital reserve. It could be in the middle of the year, and we'd have to have a special proposition, and it'll cost us more money to
Yeah.
have people come and vote. So we should think about, even if we don't put money in it,
That's a good
just
point,
raise the cap
Okay.
to 15, 20.
We can.
And we need a proposition to increase the
Yes.
capital reserve limit, right? Okay.
But we should do it as soon as we
It's not
can,
a bad
because
idea,
when
John.
the state comes down with things, they're sneaky. Remember, they took $500,000 from us in January a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Then they said, oh, no, you can have it back. Sorry, we scared you.
it's just such a matter. Yeah, we absolutely can, we can talk about it after the meeting and add it on as a late proposition, but the legal notice will go out soon. If we want, April 3rd.
And once something moves into the capital reserve, it can only be used for capital improvement projects, and can it get moved out to a different reserve?
And that's the other side.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take a shot at this.
Yeah.
right? You don't want to fund the entire capital project because you want to have the debt service. Could you explain that, please? Why?
Yes, so we've maintained about a $6.5 million debt service for as long as, we've had debt, which has been since the school was built. As soon as you pay that off, that's where the taxpayers just feel that decrease, and you do want to maintain that so that it's not such a hard hit. So that is definitely one thing that, our fiscal advisors would say, is as soon as something's coming off, you need to have debt, you need to put
It's
it
the
back on.
American way to owe.
Yeah. And it's definitely, we are definitely seeing more of a decrease in the debt service than we're actually probably will end up taking on. So it will be very much the same. Sorry, it's just the upcoming events. So we've got April 2nd, public information session on the capital project. April 9th, we will pretty much wrap everything up. We'll have special ed health insurance, we'll have the tax impact, we'll discuss the tax levy during that time. We will not make any decisions, but we will have the conversations. I will have the final revenues and expenses. And then April 22nd, we'll have one more final just powwow about the budget, and then we will look to adopt the budget during the April 22nd meeting. We'll have the public hearing on the 7th, the vote on the 20th, and then, as I talked about before, the 21st will be that public hearing. And then we have a board meeting that night anyway, and we will look for the approval to expense from the repair reserve. And none of that can actually be expensed until the 1st of July. Because all those propositions take effect on July 1st.
So we're voting on these propositions tonight, and so because there's a question of the capital reserve limit, do we take that one out, or do we,
I think we'd be actually adding a proposition. That's what
okay,
we're
so
looking
adding
to
one,
do.
okay, gotcha,
Yeah, we can add one. You can add one if you want.
okay. Well, that would probably be at the next,
We can do it at the next.
yeah, because we,
It's fine.
I think we do need to discuss.
Yeah,
it a
we
little
can
more,
talk
yeah.
about it on the next,
I agree with that.
April 9th too.
Anybody got questions? Thanks, Ashley. Transportation Department, hey Bobby Joe.
Hello. So we finally got an updated photo we took just on Friday. I thought it was fitting to put that in here so you can see the majority, since almost all employees were there. I'm not gonna read this, you've seen this plenty of times, and you'll see more. So our priority and core values that I looked at for transportation would be, we're definitely an operations part of the district, but I look for honesty, integrity, and transparency, safety and support, and respect. A couple of things we were trying to just really build upon and work on in our area. So we've, our goals were to ensure consistent and accurate communication. So we've tried to work really hard to make sure that there's Facebook posts, emails. We try to keep people up to date in what's going on in our department, in my department. We created actually Alexis. We sent her, trying to be a lot more efficient, sent her a list of like our highway supervisors, everyone, all of our out of district parents, because they don't get phone calls when we're delayed or closed. They don't get our phone calls unless we actually put them on a list. So we worked together and we built a list. So now everybody gets contacted. I don't have to try to contact all the highway supervisors in the morning to say, we decided to close, or we decided to like, they just get the phone call automatically. I still talk to them to find out about weather, but everything is out by 5. Lynette and I have a conversation, and Alexis has got that stuff right out there. It's been so much better, a lot more streamlined. We've hosted a lot of community events. The Soup with the Superintendent worked really well, I think. We all got together. There were a lot of people who had many questions. Great informational session for everyone. We've tried to add Titan Herald articles, putting out there, you know, you'll see looking for bus drivers. But like our dedication of the bus garage to Norm Sigler, that was added in there. You know, we want the community to be updated on the EV project as best as we possibly can. Laura and I worked together earlier in the summer last year to come up with a better, more efficient, not better way, but a more efficient way, more safe way to do the pre-K and kindergarten orientation. So it, you know, to a lot of parents were like, no, we're not riding the bus. And last year we didn't leave it as an option because at some point their child has to ride a bus, whether it's a field trip, a sports trip. So we wanted them to be able to have what it's like to actually get on a school bus and ride it around. And in that time we had some volunteers from my department who got on, and they went through like a short list of bus rules, and we gave out little bags with some toys and coloring books that were all pertaining to bus safety and parent information, so that way they would learn all the things. So we were really trying to put that information out there. And again, I mean, we've done so many field trips with the EV buses. We've had a lot of teachers be engaged in that, which has been really helpful, I think, with the students. So we've had some really great feedback. It makes us more transparent. We don't want to hide anything. We want people to know what we're doing, and if they're more aware, then they're more understanding as to what's going on. And just making sure the parents are aware and keeping safety at our forefront. We've done a lot of professional development. We've just completed on Friday last week our 3rd safety refresher for the state, but we went through a lot of other training. We had a guest speaker who came down, and I think from the feedback I've gotten from my employees, they were really happy about that. It really brought a lot to them to have someone talk to them about what they do. And we try to keep safety at our top priority, and just getting constructive criticism really provides a lot of feedback, and trying to just do better. That's really what it comes down to. We've reorganized office spaces. Actually, Nick has done a great job he's having Joe paint all of our offices. And so we're getting like a whole makeover. People are super excited about that because I don't know, I think the building was built 25 years ago, and it probably hasn't really been painted since then. So it's really nice. People are happy. We've talked about it before, but we added some coffee bar, little snack bars, sodas, things that people want. They're always updating, like, hey, how about this? So we try to pick that up and have that out there for them. And they really like that, I think. Trying to keep up on some newsletters to the staff in my department, things that are going on, things that we could use some help with, getting their input for different events that we'd like to do, or just all of that. And one thing that I really like to do is I love the doors being open. Like, I want people to feel welcome to just walk in the door and be like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Or just come in and chit chat. Like, there's now 3 of us in the office, and we love to have people come in and just chit chat. If we're really busy and focused on something, then we don't really have time for that. But most of the time we make time, and they're only in there for 5 or 10 minutes, and we make that time. And I think that that's really, you know, given a lot of people a different outlook, that it's not just come to work. It's like, you can just chat. We're real people. We've gotten some positive feedbacks, but some challenges. Attendance is a challenge. That has, just like any other year, it just seemingly doesn't, it stays about the same, hard. Our EV implementation, that's been a struggle. I mean, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of setbacks, but we're coming around. I mean, things are finally starting to get, moving forward in the right direction. Our budget responsibilities with the tariffs, all the things that are coming forward, the cost and increase in insurance, those things have been a lot. I mean, trying to figure out how do we budget for this when we don't really know the numbers. Electricity for the buses when we don't really know what we're gonna be charged yet. Our extracurricular activities, we've done over 13,000 miles in just extracurricular activities alone this year. And that was updated, I think, probably about a month, maybe 3 weeks ago. So, I mean, we've done a lot. That's a lot of miles for sports and field trips. Bus patrol, I know you guys, I talked about it last year with everyone. I actually have been in touch. The county, last I knew, they had gotten some bids in for the program, and they were going to vote on it. I haven't heard how that went yet, but they were looking to implement. So I guess I did not hold any words or mix any emotions. I told them that the safety of our students, if they didn't really care, if the cost of money was too much for the safety of our students, then that was just, I couldn't understand how that could be. So I finally got a response after that. We've had a lot of language barriers. I'm learning how to use Google Translate really well. It's really handy. And disciplinary issues. So we've had quite a few. We work well with the principals. They are phenomenal in helping. We do a really great job, I think, working together. And I always appreciate their help because they are on top of it. If I send an email or send something, they're right there. So I have no complaints in that department. Here's our attendance. You can see how that goes. January is a rough month. February, I wasn't able to get that inputted in there before this came up, but it's been tough. We've managed to make it work. We've had to cancel a run or two every now and then, unfortunately, but when you're completely out, our contractor will say, Rick and I have been in constant contact at different times about trying to, how do we make runs work? He's always a good source of information, because he did this job for a long time. But we work really hard and work well together, but trying to cover runs sometimes is difficult. But parents have been really great at understanding in the times that we've had to do that. So I will say that that's at least forgiving. So again, looking at the budget responsibilities, like I already talked about, increased in cost of materials, unforeseen expenses, so the EV, those are different expenses that that wasn't thought about in the beginning, that we're finding out that we're having to spend money on. So trying to, ensure with Ashley, like, okay, how much do we really budget for that? The insurance, tires, with the new EV buses, a whole new set of tires. And our electricity, well, hopefully we'll get a little bit more information about that soon. New vehicles, we're trying to keep everything updated, trying to stay on that 2035 mandate. I don't know where that's going to go in the coming future, but we still have to plan for that at the current time. Our software programs for our buses, the chargers, making sure we have the most up-to-date current software programs that cost additional money, and additional programs to complement the other tools and updated equipment. So sometimes there's software that goes with a tool you have to pay for because nothing comes together, as we're finding out. So just an update in our EV process. Chargers have been installed. We know that they've been out there. So In Charge got the final inspection photos. They were actually approved last Thursday. The chargers were all commissioned. So we're trying to finalize the last pieces to get ready to transport our students. So Norm and Josh have worked really, really hard trying to, make sure that the buses are going to be set. So this is what they look like. I actually took these pictures last Thursday evening. There's the first bus hooked up, the charger, and I tried to take this as best as I can. You can't really see it, but it shows that it's all plugged in and it's working. And today it went on its very first bus ride with students, I want to say. So Josh had to drive. This is Josh, our mechanic. He had to drive today and he came to me and said, "You can tell me no, but I'd really like to take the bus out." And I said, well, if it was any other person, I would say no, because I'm a little, it's just nerves. I said, but being it's you, okay. So he took it out, he drove it 45 miles, and it lost 30% charge, which not so bad for where it went. Wasn't a lot of hills, but we'll take that as a win. I personally, I think that's a really good positive. Nobody actually knew that here because I slid this slide in and told Alexa she couldn't tell anybody that it was there. So I wanted to surprise everyone because we didn't let anybody know. There were some of the kids who actually, so I will say my daughter rode this bus today because that was her bus run, and she had texted me and said, "Really?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "An electric bus." And I was like, "Just ride it." "Is this why you told me I had to go home?" I said, "No." But she then texted me and said, "It's just super loud." And I think that's what we're gonna find is until the kids really realize that it's so quiet, there's no motor, everything just bounces around. But they did realize after a little while, Josh said that it quieted down a little bit. So I was really excited to hear that. He came back in one piece. We all clapped because we were really happy that he came back. And it was nice to see. He said there was a lot of parents who were really receptive to him pulling up in the bus, and they were like, "Oh, you have the EV bus," and nobody seemed mad. So I think we're taking steps in the right direction. So some of our highlights, we dedicated our bus garage to Norm. This is Norm. These pictures in the middle are from our professional development Friday, our guest speaker, and then all of my people just hanging out, getting their PD in, but they really were receptive to her. They really liked her. She did a great job. We hired a head bus driver, and we've got our little Employee of the Month sign. So we have quite a few highlights. Some of the things that we do are a little snack bar, our coffee bar. That was our soup with the superintendent over there. Some Halloween photos. I was excited. And these are our EV bus field trips. So our first EV bus, and then some of the teachers that brought their students over. That it's been really cool and fun in the kids. But here's why we do this. So I had to take this. I was scrolling Facebook one night, and I came across this post. So I did cross out the names, but one of our students travels 46 miles each way to school with the best ladies in the world. They love, respect, and know my boy. They sometimes know something's up before I do. Mrs. T has known before Mama that ear infections are brewing. They put their whole hearts into their job. Teresa Brackett, Tammy Damon, and Hope Behringer, thank you for loving our boy year-round through every long drive. And I appreciate you all and hope you have an amazing, much-needed break. So this was right before a break. This is something that they had given to that child as a gift because they are an out-of-district special education run. And so they only have a limited number of students on there. And this is our group. So this is Teresa, Hope, and Tammy. And if you look, Teresa and Hope are actually in the back of the row. And this is what they do. And for me, that's amazing to see this. I wasn't looking for it, but to have a parent really express on social media, there's so much negativity on social media. So to have a parent actually express a lot of positive, and there were really a lot of positive quotes. They dress up, they do things for their students all year long. And that is what I strive to want everyone to be involved in. And then this is all the rest. I mean, we snow tubing up at Catamount, the boys baseball, the Titan Voyager, teaching CPR to our parenting class, woodworking, just the kids. I mean, this is what we do in transportation. It's everything. Any questions?
Just really cool.
Yes.
How long did it take to recharge that bus that lost 30%?
That lost 30%. He came back at 4, a little after 4. I did not look to see what it was. He plugged it in, but I would suspect that it's pretty close. When they plugged it in last Thursday, it was at 90%. It had went on at 30%, and it was on for about 5-ish or 6-ish hours, and it was at 90. That was the first time it had been plugged in to charge, though, since we had gotten it. So,
And the ladies in the back, thank you for all you do.
yeah. Anything else? All right.
Thanks, Bobby Joe. Okay, now we have the Food Services Department, and look at Ron, look who's coming.
That's for Ron.
This is why I wanted to go first, because nobody follows the food guide.
Oh, goodness, too funny.
Is hero too strong a word?
Hi, Kyle. I wanted to make sure I said.
Oh, yes, I said it.
Oh, okay.
Alexis will do that, server.
Put it on my resume.
Thank you.
I don't know, but if you guys don't want to eat that, it smells really good.
I feel bad.
Would you like one, Erin?
This is so cute. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Smells really good.
Otherwise, did you go to the porch first with it?
Wait, thank you. Thank you, Kyle.
Anyone need water? You want water?
Yeah.
Good way to start.
Right?
Right, so how about instead of this slide, I tell you what you're eating? So what I have for you tonight is exactly what the students had for lunch today. We had a Island Flavors themed day. You have in front of you pineapple fried rice, teriyaki glazed chicken, and Hawaiian roasted vegetables. That contains pineapple, red and green bell pepper, broccoli, red onion. It's tossed with some sesame oil, garlic, ginger, and pineapple juice. Enjoy.
My school lunch was never like this.
Mine either.
Right?
So the priority areas for my department are primarily 2 and 3, between our wellness committee, our communications piece, and our support services. Being an active participant in the wellness committee, our social media presence, which we started this year, and with support services, building community partnerships, enhancing engagement and involvement, and hosting community events just like the ENL holiday nights. Our goals for this year were our farm to school program, getting that up off the ground, global meals, using more New York State products, our social media, and the wellness committee. Our action steps to achieve these goals: our farm to school committee was established this year. Myself and Dr. Gardner have been doing a lot of work with that. We also started with that 2-year-long projects, the first being Harvest of the Month, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later, and our Herb of the Year, which this year is going to be basil. We're going to be utilizing the greenhouse and our ag department to grow the basil on site, utilize that in a recipe that we're going to have the students vote on, and offer that to everyone in the district. We were able to give our budget a bump for this year to accommodate more fresh and local ingredients, which was very helpful. We created Facebook and Instagram accounts, which have been taking off recently. I've been doing my best to post when we have events just like this. They get cross-posted from Instagram and Facebook. We've had some parent feedback on it, saying that the meals have been great, that their student came home and had really positive reactions to it. We've had student involvement, students coming in saying that they've been enjoying it, student likes on the posts. It's been really nice seeing them participate online. This year I was also able to attend the inaugural New York State Farm to School Summit in Syracuse. It was a 2-day event. We went up to Syracuse and we were able to do a ton of workshops. I learned a lot. But my favorite piece, and I think it would always be my favorite piece, was the workshop floor. We got to sample a lot of the products and see what was available to us. We also worked with the Wellness Committee to revise policies for the district, and that's going to be an ongoing effort. Some highlights this year, students showing interest in our new concepts. They've really been engaging. I have some photos later in the presentation. We were able to set up a tasting table outside of the high school cafeteria line and give out samples of the sauce for like, it was our tikka masala. So we were able to at least sample what it was going to be like before committing to the meal, and that really helped with participation. This year, I also became a committee member for the New York State School Nutrition Association Public Policy and Legislative Committee. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
It is a team of about 12 of us that are organized through the New York State School Nutrition Association to do things like talk about school meals for all. We were able to go to Lobby Day and lobby for school meals for all, and it hasn't passed quite yet, but we are extremely hopeful that it will pass and we will have universal meals in New York State. While we are CEP here and we are able to offer all of our students free meals, I just think it's absolutely wonderful that we're going to be able to do that statewide. One of my personal highlights for this year was admin serving student meals, especially our Chinese chicken meal, which is a little bit different than what you have here, which is our students' favorite meal. It's always great to have administrators come in and see the students in a different aspect, and have the students see the administrators in a different aspect. It's really funny to me. They'll see them behind the serving line and go, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I love it. It makes me laugh every time. Some of my challenges this year have been staffing. It's the food service world. It could be senior living, it could be restaurants, it could be schools. Food service is, its staffing can always be an issue. Decreased enrollment, and I'll add on to that, attendance has been a challenge for us this year. Federal funding with our farm to school program, which we are in a year-long program. We had a $1,500 installment in the beginning. We are due another $1,500 for the program. However, it is on a 90-day federal freeze. We're unsure if we're going to receive those funds or not this year. I will keep everyone posted on that. And then there are some other things, just rumors swirling around in my world about federal funding for next year for lunches. I can't really touch too much on that because nothing has happened, but rumors are swirling. The other challenge I can touch on is vendor offerings. The amount of New York State products that they offer and the amount of fresh produce they offer. I'm going to look to add an actual produce vendor for us next year to be able to source fresh produce without relying on what we call FAVORS, Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, which is our entitlement funds through the government, which will just help us round out our offerings. As far as the New York State products go, at the New York State event that we went to in Syracuse, they had a lot of different products, but not all of them are available through Ginsberg's. Love Ginsberg's, love supporting local businesses. I'm working with them to help bolster their New York State product list. I'm also working with several other school districts in the area and their food service directors to add those items to their bids, and hopefully with enough of us behind it, they'll get it on board. Our indicators of success, our enrollment has decreased, but participation has remained around 70%. And if you talk to most of my colleagues, they're jealous at 70%. So I'm proud of that number. Our Harvest of the Month meals have been very well received. Our global meals have been very, very well received. And we've had some student participation with the Farm to School Committee. We have 2 young ladies who are doing a research project that I cannot wait to see the results of. Our anticipated indicators of success are end of year meal counts, and I plan on doing a survey at the beginning of the year to see what they liked from last year, what they want to see going forward. Of course, we're going to maintain our budget responsibility, stay within our budget while providing nutritious meals. Our needs for my department, servingware just to enhance the presentation of the food as we're serving it, eat with your eyes first. I see a lot of students, especially at the high school line, they pass the hot line, which is where this meal would be served from, and they'll take a look in, they'll make a quick judgment, and then they'll go down to the salad bar and get a baked potato or a salad or a sandwich. And while I love giving them those options, we really put our heart and soul into these meals, and I would really love to see them get these meals. Part of that is going to be some smallwares to help present the food. And then just equipment to prepare and enhance the healthy foods. Food processors, dicers, things to just make it a little bit quicker. We hand diced all these vegetables for the entire building today. It would have been nice to have a piece of equipment that I could just zip right through. Give us more time to work on some more projects and keep the ball rolling. How these goals are moving us forward. The Farm to School program is providing students with fresh ingredients for a balanced diet. I hear all the time from students that they love, especially when they have the fresh vegetables, the fresh fruit. It really makes a difference for them. The global meals, providing them with new experiences through global cuisines. In this area, and I'm not talking about Hudson, just really in our district, there aren't a lot of global restaurants. They don't really get an opportunity to get out and see these sort of cuisines unless they're making it at home. Not a lot of them are. So it was really important to me to be able to offer them a global perspective on food and introduce them to cuisines that they might run into when they get to college. Using more New York State products, it's very important to me also to support our local farmers and economies and buy New York State apples and New York State string cheese and some New York State chips that we just added to our a la carte program. Social media, like I said, has been awesome seeing the response on that. I really love, and you'll see some flyers later, I really love making those flyers and putting it up on the TVs around the building and bolstering that participation. And with the Wellness Committee, just continuing to advocate for the health and well-being of our students. So here on out, I just have a ton of pictures that I want to share with you and stuff that we've been doing throughout the year. Over here, we have some administrators serving. In the middle, we have our tikka masala meal that we served with basmati rice and garlic naan bread. Down here, we have chicken tinga, which is a shredded pulled chicken that has a chipotle and tomato sauce with Mexican street corn. They got a little piece of churro with that as well. Or on the corner over here, we have our Harvest of the Month, which was cauliflower. We did that with a pulled pork sandwich. That was a huge hit. And over here was our tasting table that they got to be able to try some of these flavors before committing to the meal. Very recently, we did a hot dog bar featuring Sabrett hot dogs, and they were New York State Sabrett hot dogs, made in New York State. We were able to, the vendor lent me the cart, gave me some Sabrett sauerkraut, Sabrett onions in tomato sauce, Sabrett mustard, free of charge. It was a handshake deal that I made at the New York State event in Syracuse. I asked him, hey, can I borrow that? He said, no problem, just give me an email 3 weeks out. So I plan to bring this back again. That was a huge hit. Yes, staff included. I mean, staff run, we had the bus garage come over, and usually when the bus garage comes over, they'll send one person, they'll grab all the meals, bring them back. They all wanted to come over and make their hot dogs individually. Yeah, I gave them a box to bring it back, and it was awesome. These are some photos from National School Lunch Week. This year it was pirate themed. So we had a full week of menus that were all pirate themed, and we came up with some fun names like cannonballs for the meatballs. And yeah, the staff really went all out. They dressed up, they decorated. It was so much fun. And the kids really enjoyed it. These are just some of the flyers for some of the events that we've done this year. We did a mac and cheese bar. That was the chicken tinga meal. And then over here we did Lunar New Year's Eve, which was a new one for us. We were able to offer them teriyaki chicken, which is very similar to what you're enjoying now. We did stir-fry lo mein, stir-fried vegetables, an egg roll, a fortune cookie. We offered them sriracha. We did chopsticks as well. And we even had enough in the budget to get chopstick helpers that attached to the chopsticks because not everyone knew how to use them. And they got to take those home with them. These are some of the flyers from our Harvest of the Month. We did New York State apples, we did beets, we did cabbage. Beets surprised me. We got fresh red and golden beets in. We roasted them, drizzled them with a little bit of honey. It was a little bit of work to get them to even take it, but those that did, we had some converts. We had some people come back and go, I've never had beets before, and I loved it. The cabbage meal, we did a German style meal with knockwurst, pierogi, and German braised red cabbage. Again, a little bit of a challenge to get them to take that cabbage on their plate, but once they did, they started enjoying it. What was funny to me was not everyone knew what pierogies were, so then we had to describe them as mashed potato filled ravioli, and that sold. We've done brunch for lunch. We did a potato wedge bar, which we're going to be doing again coming up soon. This is the flyer for the meal that you're having today. Did a barbecue rib sandwich, kind of like a McRib, but better. We did Tex-Mex fajitas, and then for Super Bowl, we did a Super Bowl sampler platter. Now, not actually the healthiest food, but hey, it's Super Bowl. We did pizza crunchers, boneless wings, mozzarella sticks, celery sticks, carrot sticks, ranch. We all dressed up in uniforms or ref shirts. It was a lot of fun. Here you go, an example from game day. This was Big Apple Crunch, where we were giving out samples of apples. I reached out to the New York Apple Association. They sent me a bunch of marketing materials. We got in Golden Delicious apples, Granny Smith apples, 6 or 7 different varieties, and did some sample tasting. They were able to come up and take cards that had recipes on them to take home. Holiday time. In that photo over there, we did some cookie baking with the pre-K classes. We brought them into the home ec rooms. We had them help make the cookie dough. We didn't have enough time in the period to bake them, so I baked them off and brought them down to the classroom. And now every time the pre-Kers see me, hey, cookie man. I'll take it. I'll take it. These photos are from National School Breakfast Week, which just happened. It was Clue-In theme, kind of a mystery theme, so we had some secret agents. The same week, we were also doing Cat in the Hat Week. We participated on Wednesday and Thursday with some themed meals. And these are some of the elementary ladies who dressed up as Cat in the Hat, Thing 1, Thing 2. Miss Annie, dressed as Cat in the Hat, went and took some broccoli stalks, put them out in the ground outside, and had things 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 go out and pick the truffle trees out of the ground. Kids thought it was hilarious. We had some delicious cinnamon rolls and some Titan donuts. And just some more examples of the meals that we've had this year. This was the Lunar New Year meal, brunch for lunch, and the pierogi meal. And also pictured here, we have our new trays for this year. We had an investment in reusable trays to help curb our paper use. They are reusable, 5-year warranty. They can fit double stacked in the washer, which uses less chemical and gets them done quicker. Students have enjoyed seeing them. For free, they put our logo on it, which is awesome. Any questions I can answer?
Yeah, I'm a little alarmed at the fact that I see all this food, and yeah, I don't see any notices to the board members. I'm just saying there should be an alert. I like Titan Donuts.
Follow us on social media, you'll see what's coming up.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I need a heads up on, you know. All right.
Give us a follow on Facebook, you'll see what's happening.
I just have a couple of comments. First of all, this food is it's got so much flavor to it. It's very good.
Thank you.
And the budget committee this year, which I wasn't aware, and I didn't learn until at a budget committee meeting, an early one, that the cafeteria is self-sufficient. We do not, the taxpayers don't even fund the cafeteria, so
That's correct.
I commend you for that. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
And the farm to school, now I know years ago we looked into like using local farmer stuff, but we can't use it because they need some seal.
Sure.
Or is New York State trying to get these farmers so that they do, so that we can use our local farmers stuff?
There are incentives for these farmers to go through the proper channels, but it is an expensive and tedious process.
I've heard
Like
that,
anyone.
so I hope that they can try to make that a little easier for the court, because we are an agricultural district, so it would
Absolutely.
be great. And the universal meals that you brought up, so I was just looking through one of my onboard notifications, so not only is the governor supporting it, the Senate and the Assembly all are, so I'm pretty sure that will go
That
through.
is exactly correct. In years past, it hasn't gotten past the governor's office. And
now they're all on board.
the lobby day, the governor came out and had it part of her executive budget. So we changed our tune a little bit to be a little less aggressive and a little more thankful. And we are very, very hopeful that it will pass.
I think it will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
You go on these food summits, right?
Yes.
To find out the great food you're making. Is that like a one-day thing or?
The one that I was able to go to was a 2-day event in Syracuse.
Do they need like any volunteers for taste testing or anything? I'm sure Ronald Ride would.
There's 2 members here.
The economy of gas, right together.
Yeah, we'll be green.
We'll go on the electric bus, everything's
See, there you go.
all fitting in. Synergy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
you.
Kyle. Okay, next up, we have the superintendent report.
I
No, you can top Kyle.
I can't top it, I'm not even gonna try. So ongoing initiatives, as you know, we're focusing especially, well, it's part of our strategic plan, academic excellence, our school environment and operations, which you can also see that those are a focus when everybody is sharing out their plans. You can see how the strategic plan helps everyone to stay on target and align what they're doing in their departments and buildings with the plan. We continue to foster that culture of collaboration and accountability. We want to communicate, be as transparent as possible when we can and effective, and then continuing to advocate for equitable funding and resources and decisions always that are in the best interest of our students. My personal goal, just raising the bar, using the strategic blueprint effectively for the items that I just mentioned. Monthly highlights, I was able to attend the Winter Institute and Lobby Day in Albany, March 2nd through the 4th. We had our conference day this past Friday. We had our winter athletics ceremony last week. We had a pre-K art show that was just delightful and so much fun. I shared some pictures of that with you. It's always so wonderful to see pre-K and kindergarten students so excited and proud of their work. And then we also had the musical, which was phenomenal. I saw it on Thursday and on conference day the next day, and speaking to all the faculty and staff, I kept telling them how great it was and they should go. We did have a successful conference day. It was a very busy day, but we were able to offer a lot of opportunities for all the departments and employees here. We did ask people to fill out an evaluation of the day because that helps us to know what we're doing well and where we can improve. So as of today, we did have 91 responses out of 138 that will be sent out again because we want to get as many people as possible. 64% felt it was really well organized. 65% felt a high level of satisfaction with the different opportunities that we provided. We worked this time to really include opportunities not only through the county and Questar, but within the district for teachers to collaborate as well as TAs and aides. So we wanted to know how did that go for them, and it was great to see that 94% of the people that participated on a rating scale of 1 to 5 said it was a 3 or better to be able to connect and not work in isolation. Some of the feedback that we've already gotten on what we can continue to do. This time we were so packed, we didn't leave as much time for self-care, where we've tried to give people those opportunities to walk with the group at lunch, to participate in yoga, to just have time to come together as a community. So people are asking, hey, we like that. Can you work to continue to fit that in? They want to continue to meet as departments and grade levels, working on essential standards and aligning learning targets with standards. That goes back to academic excellence and some of the work that we're doing within all grade levels and content areas to raise the level of student engagement and the level of rigor that's happening in the classrooms. People have asked for Marianne Brittingham to come back. She was at our first 3 conferences that we had. really focusing on movement and the power of movement in the classroom and strategies that are effective with how our students learn today, in giving them a break, but also activities that you combine physical movement with what's happening in the brain to help them learn. And we did start this year providing breakfast as a way for everybody to come together before we kick off our busy day, and that's been a highlight for everybody asking for that. We also have a lot of congratulations and much success to our valedictorian and salutatorian. Dr. Teedy and I got to visit with Aaron Schrader, our valedictorian, who might have something to say about that tonight, and Luke Olson, who's our salutatorian. They'll both be preparing their speeches, and it's really an honor to see them be so successful. We get to recognize them. We also wanted to take a moment to let you know that Angela Webster, who has been our athletic director, was recognized by the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. That's almost as long as the what Kyle is part of this group, but it takes a lot to earn this distinction, and we're really proud of her. I think we all know here the work that she does. She's unrelentless in making sure we have students joining teams, that we have coaches that are prepared, that we have transportation, that we have great schedules set up for all of our sports throughout the year. And it's wonderful that she is yet another shining example of somebody here at Taconic Hills that's putting us on the map within the county and the regional area. So congratulations to her, very well deserved, absolutely. And we just had our ceremony, and it's just great again to see all of the success of our students, the teams that we have, scholar athletes, and they're just highlights that you can see of all our students. Great things happening, not only here at our school, but for our athletes, again, within the county and the region and the state. Yeah. This.
I am so mad I missed it, Margaret. I am so mad.
Aldo Zavachi playing the fiddle. They have just learned this. I have to say they're doing a really good job. It's hard to tell from this angle.
Oh, they're having fun.
I know you are.
I don't want to be on the ground right now.
It was really funny watching Tom Russo.
Oh, he was doing it too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So thank you, Margaret, for the
Yeah, that was cool.
energy that you put into that and coming. And I know the kids had a wonderful time, and I look forward to this next year as well.
Yeah, my pleasure. I loved it. I loved it. And thank you, Laura, for helping so much to get that organized. It was totally worth it for me. I think they really had a good time. The second graders especially, I felt it went well. It was good. The first graders too, but it's a little harder.
You did have a good,
They had a really good time.
they're looking to incorporate line dancing to other parts of
And
the
it's,
day.
and it's so important that we're providing opportunities and access to all of our students. So the fact that they could do all of that in one short
Yeah,
42-minute period
Yeah.
is really amazing and speaks to you as a teacher, but also that we continue to seek out as many opportunities as possible for our children.
yeah. Aldo said, anybody have any comments or questions? And one boy was like really shy and hesitated to speak. And he said, he was kind of trying to say like, my father is from an Irish family and I'm so happy to like have this connection, like learn about these roots. And then there was a girl who was just a real spitfire and she said, I feel sweaty and confident and like I could tackle the impossible. Thanks to what Aaron Schiff is, I was like, okay, those are two stellar reviews there.
That's cool.
And lastly, I do also think when we talk about equity and access and opportunity for our students, it's not just courses we're offering at the middle school or high school level. It's providing different opportunities with food. That's a huge part of it. It's these opportunities. It's even our young students getting to bowl with the glow in the dark. It's all those different pieces that make up a really full circle environment for them in which to learn and grow, which is important. I just wanted to point out that on April 2nd, we do have those two events going on. We want to hold a capital improvement project information night for the public, which these will be posted again and have been. And then coffee and conversation with the board right after that from 6 to 7. We do have a couple openings for board members, and we want to be able to let people know what is it like to be a board member? What are those responsibilities, and how do you serve your community and become a board member? So we'll continue to post and highlight those to our community. And I had already shared about our updates for pre-K, and we just did send another reminder out today to everybody. When we send out reminders, we tend to get a few more people coming in. And then for the rest of the month and moving into April, we also had last night our 3rd and 4th grade concert. I do have to tell you that I have never seen a concert as well attended. It was a full house upstairs as well. And it was really exciting to see all the enthusiasm, and our students did a phenomenal job. You wouldn't know that they were 7 and 8 years old with what they performed. So next week we have our grade 1 and 2 concert, legislative committee, our capital improvement project and coffee and conversations. And then, as you know from Ashley's, our budget workshops that are coming up. And then we have a policy committee meeting on April 10th. That's it. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lynette.
Thank you.
And the student liaison report, Aaron.
Good evening. I'm going to begin by talking about recent student achievements. This past January, all of the juniors took the English Regents. This is to have the students try to pass the Regents before the June Regents, in order to relieve some of the stress off of students taking all of those finals. And many of the students did very well, with many of the students receiving grades of 100 on the Regents, which is very unheard of, considering the fact that many of the English teachers had talked about how this Regents is one of the hardest ones that they had seen before. Basketball Scholar Athlete Award. The student holding the highest academic average on the boys varsity basketball team and girls varsity basketball team were both invited to a scholastic brunch that celebrates the academic achievement while being a part of the sports team. This year, Michaela Silvernail represented the girls, which took place on March 9th. And at this brunch, she was awarded an award for being the top scholar in the whole Pachun Conference, which is really awesome to see. And she gave a speech at the conference, thanking others for getting her to that point, and kind of how she balances the workload with the sports. And then for the boys, Aiden Berger will be representing the boys on March 30th. Valedictorian and salutatorian. I would like to recognize myself for being the valedictorian. And I would also like to recognize Luke Olson for being the salutatorian for the class of 2025. Obtaining that award took many hours of education and putting education first before other activities. Chicana Hills Invitational Symposium. This goes back to January, but I just learned about it recently, and I thought it was important to share. On January 8th, the first annual Taconic Hills Invitational Symposium of High School Science Research was held. The symposium was coordinated by the symposium director, Linda Hopkins, who is a high school science teacher here. There were 36 students who participated from 11 different schools, and they presented to a panel of judges. They were broken up into different rooms depending on the topic of their presentation. The judges had come up with awards for each category, and these awards included the Outstanding Research Award, the Outstanding Presentation Award, and the Judge's Choice Award. I wanted to take the time to recognize Darwin Cardona from Taconic Hills, who won the Judge's Choice Award. His project was on the connection between levels of anxiety and stress and music usage in college students. Winter Athletic Banquet. On March 6th, the Winter Sports Banquet was held. At the banquet, 16 students were awarded for a variety of achievements, ranging from Most Improved to Coach's Award. Valentine's Day fundraiser. Last month, the senior class had continued their carnation flower fundraiser. This allows for students to purchase carnation flowers and have them delivered to other students and staff around Valentine's Day. That last point was a part of school events and activities. So for last month, the NHS had inducted 16 new members into the National Honor Society. Current members took turns reading the 4 pillars and what they stood for, which are character, leadership, service, and scholarship. And as each of the 4 pillars were read this year, a candle was lit for representing each pillar. The current members of the National Honor Society wrote speeches and presented these speeches at the induction ceremony. The National Honor Society last month met together and made cards for terminally ill children who are currently hospitalized. These cards included drawings of animals and some kind of dad jokes to bring smiles to the children. School play. The school play, which was Anything That Goes this year, was performed this past Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The play was incredible all around, with a ton of students who participated in the play. The students began rehearsing this play back in early December. Lunar New Year. For the Lunar New Year, the cafeteria staff served Asian-inspired food. In addition, the Cultural Immersion Club created a Lunar New Year billboard in the main atrium in order to promote student learning of what the Lunar New Year is all about. FFA survey. The FFA, which is Future Farmers of America, is running a survey which is being conducted by 2 students for an agricultural project to understand the correlation between knowledge of food and eating habits. The survey is open to students in grades 7 through 12, and the results of this survey will be presented at the New York FFA State Convention this year. An example of one of the questions is to answer whether you disagree or agree with the following statement. I know the difference between organic and non-organic food, and students can answer on a scale of 1 to 4. NHS group activity. The National Honor Society stayed after school this past month and wiped down all of the trophies in their cases, which are displayed in the main atrium and the hallways. And they removed all of the dust from the trophies to polish them up. The JCK Foundation. This is a wonderful organization that comes and discusses mental health with students. This is the second year that the JCK Foundation has come to the school. When the JCK Foundation was here this time, students were put into groups during different periods of the day, and they met with the JCK members in a classroom. This is an awesome experience for students because the JCK leaders make the students feel like they matter with the activities that they provide. And these are people that aren't only educated in mental health, but they've experienced it themselves and are very open about it to promote the idea that it's okay to be going through mental illnesses. And the student body had very strong feedback for this organization. The 3rd and 4th grade art and concert show was held was held on March 18th, which was yesterday. And the grades 1 through the 1st and 2nd grade art and concert show will be held on March 25th. The Scholastic Book Fair. The Scholastic Book Fair is open to grades Head Start through 6th grade. The book fair is hosted by the elementary PTO and will be held from March 24th through March 28th. This year, there will be a family event on March 25th where students can come to the book fair with their families from 3 to 8 p.m. Junior Parent Night. On March 26th, there will be a Junior Parent Information Night at 6 p.m. in the high school library. And at this, they'll discuss information for juniors that are going into their senior year and what to kind of expect in terms of deadlines with financial aid and kind of the whole application process. The Spelling Bee. On March 25th, high school students will be competing at the Marist Spelling Bee, which is open to the public. Last year was the first year that Taconic students participated in this spelling bee, and we had a little under 8 students. This year, there was a ton of student interest after seeing how it was such a great experience last year. However, we were limited to 16 students due to sponsor issues, and all 16 of those spots were filled. In English 102, which is the English class offered through Columbia Green Community College, students have been reading the Shakespeare play Macbeth. And to kind of go along with reading the play, students are attending a field trip on March 26th to watch the play in person. Seal a Smile. Seal a Smile is a school-based organization in the elementary that provides oral health education, screenings, cleanings, and sealants to students free of charge. And there are currently around 80 students participating in this program. Irish Jig. On St. Patrick's Day, students in 1st and 2nd grade learned how to dance to an Irish Jig in PE class. Easter Egg Hunt. On April 10th, the National Honor Society will be putting on an Easter egg hunt for the before and after school program. The members are going to hide eggs all around, and the students will be able to find the eggs, and inside the eggs will be stickers and toys instead of candy. The next topic is academic updates. This year, in addition to the Seal of Civic Readiness, which the counseling staff has been great at organizing and making sure that students are following the deadlines. There will be there's a biliteracy seal, which students can qualify for if they've met specific qualifications in terms of knowing how to read and write in two or more languages. The next topic is student concerns, which I have no student concerns. The next topic is positive changes. Students are now required to store their bags and backpacks in lockers and are no longer able to carry them around. This provides safety for students and staff all around. Spanish class mural. Outside of the Spanish room in the high school, there is a mural of the world being painted of all of the countries, and the plan is to have all of the countries on the map labeled in Spanish. Recycling in school. Students had an assembly led by an individual involved in the promotion of recycling. The guest speaker talked about the importance of recycling and why the environment is in danger if recycling is not done more. He has partnered with Taconic Hills to increase recycling in the school, including recycling all materials from paper to food. There will also be more recycling bins and more food composting bins put all around the school with lists of items that can be recycled and can't be recycled to promote recycling. There are also green teams that are being assembled consisting of staff members who will promote more recycling. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Aaron.
Aaron, I'd like to say something. You strike me as the type of guy who doesn't pump his own chest. I don't think you understand how amazing it is that you're valedictorian. I can't even spell the word. I want you to know that we're all very proud of you. I think it's an amazing achievement. And if I was me, I'd be like, I'm the king of the world. You need to know that you did great and you're going to do great going forward. And so congratulations.
And you always give such a detailed report, and I love that. So thank you. Audit committee, Joe.
Oh, all right. We met tonight to discuss budget-related matters as an RFP for external auditors. Agreement with RBT will expire in June. The RFP is due back to the clerk by April 7th. The audit committee also discussed updated propositions. The property loss reserve was created in December. Will be transferred to the repair reserve, beginning process to repair the terrazzo flooring. The last meeting date of the 2024 season will be May 21st to discuss dates and process for the 24-25, including audits. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Board of Education member activity reports, we'll start with Janine.
Okay, I went to the musical Anything Goes with Margaret and Molly. It was great. It was so good. It was so funny and fun, and I really enjoyed going. And I also went to an accelerated math and science information session that the school had. And I couldn't believe it when I was in there. So many parents and kids were there. I think they said there were like 50. I've never been to like a night meeting with parents that there were so many people. I was like, this is great. And I thought it was really nice because the school was offering it to like all the students, like to give them a chance. You have to fill out an application to do like honors classes for 8th grade. So it's like 7th graders going on. So I thought it was nice giving the opportunity to all the kids.
Thanks, Janine. Joe?
Outside of regular stuff, I still haven't come out of hibernation yet.
Understood. And Margaret, we already know one thing she's been up to.
I also went to the awards, the athletic awards night. I saw the play Anything Goes, which was phenomenal. And I can't remember, I think there was something else, but it's good.
I got nothing.
Molly?
I saw the musical and it was phenomenal. I didn't realize that Rebecca Miller was playing piano live the whole time. And when Lynette came over during intermission, I was like, yeah, she's playing. I was shocked. She's incredible. She did a wonderful job directing the musical. I'm very impressed.
So I did not, I was planning to come, I had my daughter, I went down to my daughter's house, so I missed the play, and I missed Margaret's dancing, so I'm so upset that I missed your dancing, because I really wanted to.
Wait, Margaret.
I know, I did say that to her. I did tell her that, so now you're
Yeah, she said you guys
She
are
did.
down there.
We're not that far from 117. I done done the gym with you out there.
And I was gonna, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about some of the news. So
Sure.
That's why I did say that, so that's.
So, from the land of the legislative committee, some good news for a change. As you recall, we talked about the law, how it says that district funds cannot be used to pay the cost of daycare, the actual cost of the tuition of daycare, but it's really vague about spending any money for doing like renovations or anything like that. So we've been searching out answers for that. We finally made a connection between a lawyer at the state comptroller's office and our attorney, Jeff Honeywell. They had a discussion over a couple of days. We have a green light to use money through the capital project to do those renovations.
Great, thanks.
So, full speed ahead.
It was a lot of,
That's huge.
it was a lot of hard work and a lot of legwork by, we've done a lot of reaching out and, so I'm glad that we finally got it. At least we got an answer now. It's taken a while,
Well,
so.
thanks to Rick, and as usual, Taconic is always on the forefront doing things, and then later on, the state funds it. for
I
other
mean,
schools.
to be
We're always ahead
honest,
of the game. We did
If
it
it
with pre-K.
if it wasn't for getting legislators involved, you know, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we did. So, you know, we at Michelle Hinchy's office, they have been wonderful. Like, they even reach out to us and they're always like, how far are you? Do you need something else? So they've been very great about that. So, yeah.
Good job, Rick.
So finally,
Thank you.
some good news.
Awesome.
All right. For new business, we're not voting on this tonight. These are just policies for first read. So next month, these policies will be up for second read and we will, approve them. So just make sure you read them, please. So now I need a motion for is it only one field trip? We have 2 field trips. So we have a FFA club to the New York State Convention in Syracuse, and then we have a pre-kindergarten to the Hancock Shaker Village in Pittsfield. Can I have a motion, please? Molly and Margaret. Any questions? All in favor? Thanks. I need a motion to accept the insurance proceeds from an October 2nd motor vehicle accident. Motion, please. Rick, second. Molly?
You looked over
I know, I
that.
looked over it this time, I know. Any questions? All in favor? We're gonna dispose of some obsolete equipment. Motion for that, please. Joe, Margaret, any questions? All in favor? Okay. Next up, we have the RIC One Risk Operations Center resolution. We're approving new technology. It's a DPA structure. Motion, please. Margaret, second. Janine, any questions? All in favor? All right, we have textbook adoption. So it's a Principles of Food Science for Family and Consumer Science. I need a motion for that. Joe and Margaret, any questions? All in favor? Okay. Now we have a resolution for the State Environmental Quality Review Act. With our capital improvement project, we are saying that it's not subject to review under that act. Is that what I'm understanding here? Okay, motion. Rick, second. Joe? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. All right, so we have those prepositions that Ashley spoke about tonight. Motion, please. Molly, second. Margaret? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, the district calendar, motion for the district calendar. Margaret, second. Janine? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, we have a payroll schedule. I need a motion for the payroll schedule. Margaret, second. Joe? Any questions? All in favor? All right, the capital improvement bid awards. So those are the 2 companies that have gotten a bid. Motion, please, to approve them. Margaret, second. Joe? Any questions? All in favor? All right, so now we have a couple of MOAs. There's an MOA with the Taconic Hills Administrators Association. It's for Mary D'Amico overseeing the PPS department until the new director of PPS begins on March 31st. Motion, please. Margaret, second. Janine? Any questions? All in favor? On MOA with the Taconic Hills Faculty Association, appointing Barbara Fountain as the alternative CSE chairperson for the PPS department until the new director of PPS begins on March 31st. Motion, Molly and Margaret. Any questions? All in favor? And then MOA with the Taconic Hills Faculty Association, amending the step placement of Ms. Hilliard, Amy Hilliard. Motion, please. Margaret and Joe? Any questions? All in favor? Okay. MOA with Taconic Hills Faculty Association. And this is for reassigning a JV baseball head coach to an assistant baseball coach for modified and varsity baseball teams. Ron and Margaret. Any questions? All in favor? Agreement between the district and all of the associations, it looks like, and between the board and the superintendent of the schools. This is to grant Friday, May 23rd as an additional day off with pay without charge to any accruals. Motion, please. Molly, second. Margaret? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, so now we have I need a motion for the personnel agenda. It's A through M. Motion, please. Margaret, second. Joe? And go through those. I see that Mr. Prime has come back out of retirement, which I'm very thankful for, because he's a great teacher, so that's nice to see that he's gonna stay. And I told you we're striking D. Just making sure we're not missing any. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about any of those? All in favor? Thanks. Is there anybody for public session 2?
No.
All right. Any additional items to discuss? The only thing I'd like to say is the April 2nd date that they talked about the coffee. I'd like to have as many board members attend as possible, just because, I mean, if we do have anyone that's interested in running for the school board, I know, Margaret, when you went to the conference last year, that was one of the things that you kind of wanted to do, and I think that was a great idea, so that people know what they're getting into when they sign up to join the board, so. Huh?
6 and 7.
Yeah.
On April 2nd.
Yeah. So if you can at least come, I mean, you know, I don't know if anyone will show up, but if they do, at least we'll be able to answer any of their questions. I mean, we have a wide variety of experience on this board, and I think, you know, we definitely could bring some insight into what it is to be a board member.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And that's all I have. Anybody else have anything additional to discuss? All right, we need a motion to go into executive session to purposes of discussing current litigation. Motion, please. Margaret, second. Janine? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Excuse me, did we miss the part with?
Is there a public session or not?
Oh, yeah.
I have a topic that I want to speak about.
There was a sign in.
Agenda.
Yeah, there's a sign in at when you come in, so that's what you sign up with, that we know that you want to speak.
Oh, we didn't see that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. You get 3 minutes.
It'll be
Talk.
quick.
Okay.
I wrote it out.
Okay.
I'm not gonna speak freely, so.
Just so that you know for future, if you do want to speak, you
Okay.
come in and sign in.
This is
and
my
then-
first time. So.
I understand.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so my name is Lindsay LeBrant. I'm a member of Sensible Solar for rural New York. And when this project started, I personally have always asked, what's gonna happen if there's a fire? And what is gonna, how they're gonna respond to the school in an emergency situation. And for the fires, I just got, well, we'll train the fire department. I mean, we just had a fire over at Copake Lake. They had to get 5 tankers in from other places because it was in the back, because water has to be tankered in. And it still is a concern for us at Sensible Solar as to what would happen if there's a fire there. And I'm also concerned about the buses, if they haven't had a chance to recharge, how are the students going to be evacuated? But this is Bill Murphy.
Bill Murphy.
He's a retired New York City battalion chief who was somebody who responded to 911. And he has some very, I think, critical and important information he just wants to share with you, please.
No, thank
Well, first off, you know, your food, your lunch menu, I wish I went to school here. I think the best thing on my menu was the fries.
you. Yeah, right?
So, my name is Phil Murphy, I'm retired from the New York City Fire Department. I was a battalion chief for 27 years. My career ended because of some toxins, you know, from my job in 9/11. So, I know a little
Well,
bit.
thank you for your service for that.
I know a little bit about medical conditions from toxins. And like Lindsay said, I can't believe they want to put this project, this solar project, so close to your school. And like I said, it should take 3 minutes. I wrote it out, I'm gonna read it.
Can you say what you're talking about first? Where's the solar project?
It's supposed to be adjacent to your school,
Okay,
basically right up to your property line.
okay,
So, streets over here, right? So right back there.
okay.
There's I believe there's a tree line.
Yeah.
And then that open field there, that's one large section of the solar panels. So, proposed. So. While I have great respect and appreciation for our volunteer fire departments, I believe they do not have the manpower, equipment, or training to handle a fire in a facility this large, which could compromise their safety during operations. As far as manpower, Prairieville has approximately 15 to 20 members, Copake has 30, and Hillsdale 20. In my experience, a routine fire, for example, one apartment in a building or one private house, generated a response of 4 engine companies, 3 ladder companies, a rescue company, 2 chiefs, 8 fire officers, and 42 firefighters arriving on scene within 3 to 4 minutes. I don't consider a fire at a facility this large to be routine. Having enough manpower and response time are critical in any fire, and unlike paid departments that are fully staffed at all times, both the number of volunteers that will be able to respond and response time are serious unknowns. Regarding equipment, out of the 3 departments listed, Copake is the only one that has a tower ladder. I feel several tower ladders would be necessary to attempt to extinguish a fire that could extend many acres. Since there are no hydrants in the area, water tankers will have to be relied on, raising concern about water supply. If foam is an extinguishment option, large amounts of water are still needed in addition to a large supply of foam concentrate. Also, the firefighters have electrical testers to determine if any equipment is still live after power removal, and if firefighters have sufficient respiratory equipment for a prolonged operation. I don't believe Hecate, the company that's proposing this solar site, I don't believe Hecate has provided details about the type of training the local fire companies would receive on handling a fire or other emergency at this site. I recently spoke to someone at the Columbia County Fire Coordinator's office who said the training has been limited. Basically, fire companies remain outside the fenced area and wait for the fire to reach them before attempting extinguishment. Training is necessary to help prevent firefighters from being hurt or killed, but will not eliminate the danger of smoke exposure to the school. During a fire, toxins will be released in the smoke. While this is not good for anyone, children are more vulnerable due to their developing organs and higher absorption rates. According to the US EPA website and Renewable Energy Magazine, solar panels contain cadmium, lead, silver, arsenic, selenium, and other things. Exposure can cause damage to the brain and kidneys, neurological and respiratory issues, and cancer, even in low doses. Who will be conducting air quality testing and notifying nearby homeowners and the school of necessary evacuation? School evacuation will not be a quick process. Where will students be taken to? And will buses and drivers be available on short notice? Considering how close the site would be to the school, there's no time to wait. On another point, unrelated to the school, water runoff during extinguishment poses the risk of contamination of the soil and the Taconic Creek, which supplies drinking water to the city of Hudson. In conclusion, I feel Hecate Energy is using this location because of its proximity to the transfer station located on Route 23. Convenience should not take priority over student safety. This project should not be approved when there's an opportunity to prevent a possible tragedy, rather than approve, cross our fingers, and hope nothing bad happens.
Well, thank you for that, and I do appreciate, that's some very solid information, and I think because you do have that experience. What I will say is, as a school district, we are limited. But what I will say is we do have a safety committee.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd be interested in, what you say about how to evacuate children and that, if you'd be interested in as a you know, community member being on a committee like that, you could leave your name and number and somebody could.
I did reach out to Michelle Hinchy's office, Dee Dee Barrett's office, and Dee Dee Barrett actually forwarded, I had another letter written that's very similar to this. She forwarded to Governor Hochul's office, and I also reached out to Lee Zeldin's office, and I got a response from them too.
And what about the town that it's gonna be done in, did you?
Richard Wolf.
I mean, you went to the
Township
town
Eliza,
too,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, they have it.
I mean, as a school district, I
Yeah,
mean,
I just wanted to get the message out there. I was actually trying to get in touch with the parent teachers organization. Because I think a lot of parents don't know about this. And the exposure, like Hecate, basically they just say, oh, we're gonna give the fire companies training. Well, these are volunteer companies and I'm not putting them down in any way, but this guy might be working and when is he gonna get here? And if it's right here, that smoke, I have actually a video on my phone, I wish I could show it to you. It's 4 panels burning, 4 solar panels. You're talking thousands of panels here, 4 panels. You gotta see the amount of smoke that is generating, and it's gonna be right here. You're not gonna have any time. I don't care what kind of training these guys have. Training basically helps the firefighters not get killed. That's what training is. It's still gonna burn by the time they get there. I don't care if it's paid out for it or not. Still gonna, a lot of exposure is gonna be here. And you were talking about electric buses. When they come back from the morning run, they have to be plugged in, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Are they gonna be ready to roll if at 11 o'clock, they have to evacuate kids? And where are the kids gonna be evacuated to? You can't bring them home because this whole area is gonna be flooded with solar panels. You can't.
so do you, well, listen, I mean, we really can't discuss this, like, I mean, this is what I'll say, can you leave your name and number and then somebody from the school district can get hold of you? I mean, it is very interesting information that you bring to us.
Do you
It's
guys
just
have
that,
contact with the PTO? The parent
we do
teachers?
have a parent teacher, I mean, I'm
They're on
not.
Facebook and stuff, you can get.
What I will say is, like I said, leave your name and number and, you
And do
know,
they have meetings here
I'm,
at the school?
There's only a PTO for the elementary school.
Excuse me?
There's only a PTO for the elementary school. Not, there's 2
Not
schools
the-
here, there's the pre-K
Okay.
through. I don't know who the contact is for that, but yeah, maybe we could.
but leave your, like I
Yeah,
said,
we
leave
can
us your
research
contact
it.
information and then we
Okay.
can get a hold of you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And, you know, what you know, the information you bring is very valuable, it's just that in this setting, this really isn't the setting for that, you know what I mean?
We wanted you to know because we want to make sure you know because. heck,
Yeah, I
in the
appreciate
past,
that,
it's
that's great.
said, oh, we've been in contact with the school.
Yeah. I had no idea.
And
Yeah, well, they're not gonna tell us about the fire and the smoke problem.
But you can leave your name and number with Alexis before you leave. We're going into executive session now, because, so our meeting's over, we're going into private session.
thank you so much for your.
And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for being patient.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When we didn't give them our blessing, they wanted.